Happy New Year, Magnetic Queens. I hope you started your year off right, that you enjoyed the Christmas time and New Year's Eve with your family, friends, and loved ones. If you're here for the first time, this is the place where you learn how to get a toned, lean, feminine, beautiful body without starving, and how to grow in your faith, to be led by Jesus, and to be full of purpose, peace, and joy in your life, and a lot of self-esteem. So today's episode, as it is a New Year's episode, it is gonna be on goal setting for 2025 to set you up for success. But I am not gonna talk about the usual normal goal setting, the tips that you get everywhere to how to start your New Year's resolutions and stay consistent. But I want to talk about a specific kind of goal setting. I want to talk about spirit-led goals, about goals led by God, our Creator, because this has been transforming my entire life in the last 2 years. This is something incredible, and I have gotten to places that I would have not ever believed, and I have so much peace, so much more joy than when I was designing and following my own goals. So I want to introduce you into that topic, tell you a little bit about how I started, how it has blessed me, and how it will bless you and give you so much more happiness, joy, and peace. So the new year, starting the new year is always a great opportunity. It's a new beginning, and you can always start new. It doesn't have to be at the start of the year. But if you're here now listening in the new year, then just see it as a wonderful, great start. Just as you have your New Year's resolution, you are gonna start off the year differently than everyone. So spirit-led goal setting is about allowing God to guide your personal goals, to guide your fitness goals, to guide your spiritual goals and other goals that you may have, business goals or whatever. So you think about the goals that you want to have, but you have got to guide you through those goals and to also show you better ways if you need them. If you need better ways, then He will also lead you there, because we may know what we want now, but we don't know what's best for us, and we don't know what's our future. And often also, we don't even know what we want. Have you ever been in that situation that you were thinking like, I don't know where I want to head in life. I don't know what I want out of life. I don't know what my purpose is. I'm just like living life at like an automation system. I'm just living and just working and doing my things, but I feel no direction. I feel no purpose. If this is the case, this is the perfect opportunity to start being led by the one who knows you and who created you with a purpose. Because so many people believe in the power of the universe and that the universe takes care of you. But think about it. The universe, who created the universe? Like, the universe is not a power by itself. Somebody must have created it. The scientists don't have evidence that the universe just came out of nothing. So everything that is here and that starts have to have a cause. And this is the thing with the universe. The universe is not the powerful thing. It is the creator of the universe, and the one who created the universe with all the stars and the galaxies is also the one who created you and who knew you even before you were even born, and who had a purpose for you. And this is the person that you should address to, because he wants the best for you. So my personal story on started being guided by God for my goals and for my life, I would say it started in the end of 2022. Before, I did believe in God all my life, but I was also kind of confused. I thought that God and the universe and Buddha and Allah are all the same, and that the most important thing is that you believe in something. Until I realized that it's not about that. It's not all the same. Those are all very different beliefs. And until I started getting closer to God. But before, I would try talking to God, then I would try manifest things. I would think about the power of the universe. I would participate in workshops of with like Hinduistic ideas behind that. So I was mixing a lot of things, and it just does not align. You should never mix a lot of things. Just as you should not have like 5 different trainers, because you will not get the best results. You will be just confused and not knowing where to go, going from one way to the other. And then a lot of people wonder why they don't know what they're supposed to do in this life, or why they don't know what their true identity is, or whatever. So let yourself be guided by your creator. And if this is your aim, let me tell you my story. So I really was kind of confused. I was looking everywhere, and I was doing a lot of personal growth, and I did grow in some areas, but I had still a big confusion. And I was in church at the end of 2022 with my mom, and somebody started praying for me, and she was telling me that I should let God guide me in everything, in my friendships, in my business, in everything, that He will guide me through everything in the year of 2023. And I remember back then that I was thinking, yeah, whatever. Like, I was listening to her, but I was like, let God guide me in everything, like, because I was really like depending on myself, and I was giving myself my goals and my things, and just reflecting back, when I was handling the things by myself, I would get so overwhelmed with all the goals I was setting myself, with all my to-dos, with all the things. Like, you know this feeling when you have so much stuff to do that you get so incredibly overwhelmed and you don't even know where to start, and then you end up doing nothing? I was that person for the longest time, and I really had to discipline myself to get things done, and this was just exhausting. So I started in the year 2023 to seek God, and I started really small. I started writing a letter to God every morning. It really didn't take me long. I had my morning routine where I did my vision board with my ideas, with my goals, with what I had in mind. And additionally to that, I was writing a letter to God, and I was writing things that I was thankful for. And from this vision board, not everything came true, but a lot of things came true. Because if you let yourself be guided by God, He will not always fulfill you everything that you think is good for you. But if the thing that you wish for is good for you and is for your favor, He will fulfill you this. So yeah, in 2023, I started looking for Him slowly, and then there came more things my way that brought me closer to Him. I started going to church in May, and then from there things started to evolve. But I also had a lot of opposition, because if you're starting following God, the enemy does not want you to get closer to God, so he will send many distractions your way. And this is why you need to be consistent in seeking God's will, because if you start, but you're not consistent with that, you will be led in the other direction, just like with fitness. If you start training and eating well, but then comes your colleague and I don't know, and invites you to go out. Yeah, you can go out one time, but then you think like, okay, I fell off the wagon. The next time you also skip your training, and you keep keeping your training, and then like you're led in the total different direction. Then you end up having an afternoon wine or beer every week or every day after work with your colleagues, and you threw your fitness goals out the roof. That's the way the enemy works. He comes with one thing, with one little thing, with one little temptation, and then with the other, and that with the other, and then you're totally away from God if you're not being consistent with Him. So this is how it was in my case. I had a lot of things, a lot of opposition coming my way. And not only temptations, but also tough moments, tough situations. The year 2023 was the year where I suffered the most with the topic of my voice. If you go back to the second episode, my testimony, second episode of the second season, my testimony, you will hear the entire story. God helped me to get over that. But in this moment, in this year, I got a lot of opposition on this. And the only thing that helped me go through this situation was seeking God every day. No matter what was happening in my life, I kept searching for God every day. No matter if I faced hardships or whatever, I kept seeking Him. I did not forget Him. I did not neglect Him just because it is a stressful time. I kept seeking Him. So I want to explain you why God first goals really matter. So the thing is that God really cares about every area of your life, whether it's fitness, business, personal growth, whatever. He cares about you, and He has the best plan for you because He knows everything. He knows your past, present, and your future, and you don't know your future. So He sees ahead of you. He knows what obstacles you're gonna face. He knows where He wants you to head. So that's why asking Him for direction, He will show you the right direction. He will not always reveal the entire plan to you, but He will reveal the steps that He wants you to take. And then someday He will reveal the plan, and you will be like, wow, this is what all of this was good for. And for sure, you have had those situations in life where things happened that you did not want to happen, and then you were thankful because they made you grow, because they brought you to some better thing. This is all God in your life working, not the universe or whatever. It is your creator, God. So also having faith-centered goals, they help us to stay focused and to keep going. If they're inspired by God, He will give us the energy to keep going and to not just stop. And this is something that it's really hard if you don't have God in your life. It's hard to stay motivated with your fitness goals, to stay consistent if they're new, because you will not have somebody to give you that strength in your life. For example, when you have a coach in fitness, it's also much easier for you to evolve, to reach your fitness goals, because your coach keeps you accountable and keeps you going and shows you the direction. And God is the coach of your life. So setting goals with God in mind just leads you to peace and gives you clarity and just gives you a much deeper motivation that you could ever have without God. And in this episode, I'm going to bring a lot of scripture because in the Bible, as we learned, there's a lot of wisdom, and He has a lot to say on that. And in Psalm 37, 4-5, it says, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." So if you really take delight in the Lord, if you really want to know Him, want to know His heart, if you really are joyful about getting to know Him, He will fulfill you the desires in your heart. Because often, like, we have deep desires and the desires of our heart, and then we have like those short-term desires, like binge watch Netflix, or like go out and drink until we're drunk, or take drugs or whatever. But behind those desires, behind those short-term desires that actually harm us, there are deeper desires. Often if we drink every week, or if we get addicted to drugs, there is some deeper thing, there is some void that we have that we want to fill, and we fill it with that. or if we need male attention around us all the time, and this has been the case for me in the past, there is something deeper behind that. There is another wish that is not being fulfilled, and you're trying to fill this void with other things. You're trying to numb it with other things. So look behind, and following God will really fulfill the desires and the deepest ones that you have. So we should really reflect on what it would look like for you to let Him guide you through life, and to let him guide your every step. Reflect how that could look for you, and I will also give you practical tips on how you can start implementing His guidance into your life. And I have another beautiful psalm that shows like God's heart for you, and that shows like what you get out of following His will. And it says, "Oh, the joys of those who do," it's the Psalm 1, 2, 3. I love it. It's one of my favorite. And the Lord has spoken to me so much with this psalm. He has showed me this again and again. So it says, "Oh, the joys of those who do not follow the Oh, the joys of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or stand around with sinners, or join in with mockers. But they delight in the law of the Lord." So those who don't follow the people that just have no good plans, no good things in mind, but they delight instead on the law of the Lord, meditating on it day and night. So meditating on the will of God day and night. They are like trees planted along the river bank, bearing fruit each season. Their leaves never wither, and they prosper in all they do. So their leaves never get dry. They will prosper in everything they want to do. If you follow God's word, and if you meditate on it, and if you delight in Him, He will prosper you in everything you do, as long as it's guided by Him. You will have success in everything that you are gonna do if you truly, from the inside of your heart, follow Him. And this is something that you build up step by step. It doesn't come from one day to another, but the more you seek Him, the more your love for Him starts to grow, and the more you find joy in Him and His will. So I want to give you like key steps on how to set goals for this new year, how to start setting the goals, how to start setting them also God-centered, and but also how to reflect on yourself, what you think you want out of life, and then pray to God about that. So first step is always asking God for direction. I would really sit down with a cup of tea, with something to write, and I would really make this like beautiful afternoon for yourself, where you take time to reflect. And before you start writing down your goals and thinking about what you want this year, I would ask God for direction. So do a little prayer before and ask God to guide you in your life, and to give you direction on what your purpose is, and on what a fulfilled life for you looks like in His eyes. So after the prayer, I would assess on your life. I would think about your current situation, where you are standing with God right now. If you believe in Him, if you have been believing for a long time, if you have a relationship with Him, or if you only seek Him when you have problems. This was my case in the past. Where are you with God right now, and where are you in general in life? How do you feel about your life? Do you feel your life is exciting, is full of joy, bliss, full of purpose? Or do you feel your life is boring? Or do you even feel depressed, or like life has no meaning? Or where are you currently in your life? Or is it just, it's okay, but yeah, it could be better. Where are you and where do you want to go? And if you prayed before, pray to God and ask Him where He wants you to go. Because if you don't know where you want to go, then He will show you a direction. He will show you the purpose when you spend time in His presence. So yes, think about that. Think about where you want to go, and then think about what God says about that. And if you seek Him with your entire heart, He will give you an answer and you will find His presence. Then after you did that and you reflected on all of that, I would recommend you to set goals. And you can do, if you have more goals, you can do a list of the goals. And then I would really divide them into three goals. And then I would take 2 weeks up to a month, like 2 weeks or a month, to fulfill the 3 goals. Yes, to fulfill the 3 goals. So if you have this and this goal, I would take the time to say, okay, this month I'm focusing on those goals. If there's more long-term goals, I would divide them into steps along the way. But yeah, set 3 achievable goals and use the SMART framework. I don't know if you've heard of it, but SMART stands for 5 different things. The first thing is that your goals have to be specific. So it's not just getting fit, because what does it mean to get fit? Maybe I want to reduce my belly by 5 centimeters, or I want to be able to run 5 kilometers, or whatever. Set a specific goal. Then it has to be measurable. That's why I say I want to reduce my belly by 5 centimeters, or whatever. Then achievable. So something that is really like realistic. You cannot set yourself the goal to lose 20 kilo in 3 weeks, because it will just not work. If you want to lose 20 kilo, then you can split it, and then you can aim to, in the first month, lose the first 3 kilos, for example, and then divide it like that. Then it has to be relevant, so it has to be something that really moves you, so there has to be a deep desire behind that, because if it's not, then you will not stick to it. So it's something that you really have to want. And again, if you don't know what you want out of life, ask God and He will show you. And time bound. So set a specific time frame where you want to reach that goal. And if in fitness you're not sure how long it takes to reach this and this goal, I would recommend you to get a coach, and the coach will help you set those goals, because the coach knows what is healthy, what is achievable, what you can do, and he will guide you through this. So set the goals with the SMART framework, but then go and align each step with God's will and with Scripture. If you have one really cool thing that you can do, if you have whatever goals you have for financial provision or whatever, you can type in a keyword and say Bible verses about this and that. And Google will give you Bible verses, and then you can say what the Bible says about it. Then set the steps to get to that goal, and that's where I would recommend you to set 3 specific steps that will get you to that goal. So for example, you think you want to reduce your belly by 5 centimeters. So what are the steps? For example, one is including protein with every meal. The other one is strength training. And then you may have another spiritual goal. You want to get closer to God. So one goal would be to spend 10 minutes per day praying to God and reading something of the Bible. So those would be 3 specific steps to get closer to that goal, and set them and then practice those steps for 2 to 4 weeks consistently, and make them habits that stick, habits that are easy for you, and then you can start adapting the next habit. So first, be consistent with 3 habits, And when they are a part of your life, then adapt the other three until they are a part of your life, until they run like automatically in your life, until they are like brushing your teeth. Like you don't even have to think about brushing your teeth, you just do it. And the same is with the goals, with the steps, with the action steps, and with the habits to get to that goal. You have to really set them, and they have to stay, because if you get to a certain place, for example, you get rid of your belly with unrealistic goals, with like depriving yourself of all food, and with training every day and exhausting yourself, you will not be able to keep it up and you will fall back. So set yourself achievable steps and achievable habits that you can keep doing your entire life for you to keep yourself in shape. So yes, divide them into 3 per month. This is important because we don't want to overwhelm ourselves with a lot of habits at once, because you will not be able to stick to them if it's too much at once. And then the other step I really emphasize is stay consistent. Stay consistent with your new habits in every situation, even if it looks like nothing is happening, if it looks like you're doing all of the things for nothing, stay consistent. If you have been consistent with something for 3 months, for example, and you see no results towards the direction that you want to go, then reassess. When it's in your life, reassess and pray to God. But I believe when you are really consistent with God, He will give you the direction and He will show you the right direction. With the fitness goals, if you've been doing something and you see that it's not working for 3 months, then I would really consider getting an experienced coach who has already been there and knows how to get you there. Because if for 3 months the thing that you've been doing has not been working, that there's the reason that it has not been working. But otherwise, be patient and stay consistent, and just don't lose the motivation and the faith just because after 2 weeks you're not seeing the results. Everything that's good takes time, and it takes consistency. Even though you're not motivated, no matter what comes into your life, stick to those goals and be consistent. So you see that following God's will is not just about laying back on the sofa and saying, God, what do you have for me? What do you want to give me? I will sit there and rest and wait until you give me everything. No. God also wants you to have discipline and to work. So it's working together. It's like when I'm your coach, I'm going to give you the tools, I'm going to give you the steps, and I'm going to give you the direction and the motivation, but you have to do the things. You have to go train, you have to eat right, and so on. And the same is with God. He wants to work together with you. He cannot do all the work for you. And another thing is, don't look back, in the sense of often when we, for example, when we have been overweight our entire lives, we think like, I'm going to fail again. Or if you have failed in the past in your fitness goals, I'm going to fail again. I have not been able to do this like in the past, and now I will fail. I'm not going to stick to my routine. If you're already telling yourself this, you're going to fail. I can assure you that. So don't think of your past. Don't think of your past mistakes, not only in the fitness area, but in all other areas. Or, for example, maybe you've believed in God, but you've neglected Him, and you feel guilty about that, and you feel like you're not worthy searching for God now and for His guidance. Forget about this. God's grace is new every day. This is why Jesus died for us on the cross. God is not like a human being that has resentment. He takes you with open arms, and He's happy when you come to Him. So don't be ashamed of your past, and not in the spiritual sense, and also not in the fitness sense. Just because until now you have been doing this and this and this, and you were at this place, it doesn't mean that you're gonna keep on doing this and that you're gonna fail again. You get to be a new person. You get to be a new creation in Christ, and you get to be a new person if you decide to be so. And also for that, there's a wonderful verse in the Bible, in Philippians 3:13-14, and it says, "No, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it, but I focus on this one thing." So there is Paul talking about, the Apostle Paul, he's talking about a goal that he has, and he has not achieved it yet. Pay attention to that. He has not achieved the goal yet. So you don't have to achieve the goal to have the self-confidence that you're going to make it. You can have the self-confidence while you're in the process. Just like he said, "No, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it, but I focus on this one thing." Now it comes forgetting on the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. Forgetting on the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. This is what we're going to do when we're setting new goals. We're forgetting about all of the mistakes that we did in the past, but we look forward for what lays ahead of us, because ahead of us lays our dream body, lays the purpose, the blessings, and so on. He continues to say, "I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize which God through Christ is calling us." What he's saying is that God gave him his purpose, and God gave him a race, and his goal is to finish this race, and that he will receive the prize that God will give him in heaven. I'm going to talk about this later because it goes a bit deeper. But yeah, just don't look back, look ahead of you. Then I want to give you some examples of fitness goals that you can start. If you don't know how to start, I want to give you some examples of that. And also examples with faith goals, so you have head start. So you know how you can start with that. In fitness, I would recommend you to commit to 2 to 3 days of strength training and get consistent with that. That would be the first thing, because this is what is shaping your body, what is giving you energy, what is reducing back pain, neck pain, and all of those things. So commit to 3 days of strength training, or 2 days, 2 to 3 days. That would be the first thing I would start if you are just starting from scratch. Second thing is not like a nutrition or training step, but it is related to your fitness goals, and it is replace negative self-talk with gratitude for your body. And this is so important, because often we want to motivate ourselves by telling ourselves how terrible we'll look, how much weight we've gained. And if you start with this negative motivation, you will only put yourself down, and you will lose the energy to follow through and to achieve your goals. So replace the negative self-talk, stop the negative self-talk, and be grateful for your body that God has given you and for what it can achieve. You can achieve a lot of things with your body. You're going to notice it when you start strength training. So start loving yourself, because God created you perfectly. And then the third thing is a thing that many people neglect, but that is so important. I used to neglect it in the past, and it just leads to being drained and to not having the energy to follow your goals. It is resting, and especially resting intentionally 1 day of the week, because this also honors God's way and God's rhythm of rest. In Genesis, he rested on the 7th day and he blessed it, and he said that we should rest on this day to recover, to spend time in his presence, because this gives us more energy for all the other days. And in the past, I didn't do that. I was working on Sundays, I was working out, I was doing things, and I would be so drained and so stressed. And it sounded controversial for me to give this day to God, because I was like, I have so many things to do. How can I give him this day? But then I started prioritizing him, and I started resting on Sundays and resting in his presence. And this gives me so much more productivity and energy for my everyday life for the other 6 days. I can go much, I wouldn't say harder, but I can be so much more productive in the 6 days, and I can achieve so much more than back then when I didn't have the 7th day off. So those were 3 examples for your fitness goals, and the rest has a lot to do with your fitness goals. Believe me. When you learn to rest, you will get the energy for your training as well. So, other examples, 3 practical steps on how you can grow in your fitness goals would be, if you're just starting out, spend at least 10 minutes a day with prayer and asking God for clarity and strength for your everyday life and for wisdom also. When you dedicate those 10 minutes or more to God, He will give you clarity, He will guide you through your day, and He will give you wisdom and the strength to make your, hit your everyday goals. Then second step would be join a local church. I really have found that it has blessed me so much to joining my church, to growing there. I have grown so much and learned so much, and I don't know how a Catholic church really is, because like I've not visited like Catholic Catholic churches in the past. So what I can tell you is about the church that I'm at. It's Hillsong, and it's across the world. But there are other churches. It's like a Protestant church, but it's not a church. It can be in different places, in a hall, in a cinema, or whatever. But we are the church. Like we praise God, we sing to God, and it's not boring. It's like a party for God, where we grow and learning Him and learn in Him and in His Word. The preachings are not boring. They are giving you practical examples for your life, and it's just the best thing. So I would recommend you to look for such a church. And the other thing is, read the Bible every day. And I'm not saying that you should read a whole chapter or more every day, even if it's just a verse, but read something of the Bible every day. There are many plans and devotionals, and there is the Bible app that I recommended a few episodes ago, on the 12th episode, I think, about how to read the Bible. Yes, episode 12. So you could download the Bible app and look at the first verse of the day, and then you have a video that explains the verse. Or you get a devotional book. This is a good way to start reading the Bible and to get like a clear picture of what God wants to tell you with His word, with His love letter to you. Those were 3 practical examples that you can take towards your faith, and it's really like, especially number 1, spending 10 minutes in prayer and reading the Bible. It's the least you can do. It's the bare minimum, but this will bless you so much. Then also I want to give you some other practical steps to build those habits and to keep up those habits, those spirit-led habits that will make you find your purpose, reach your goals, and just also get the body of your dreams. So first of all, begin with prayer. Invite God into your planning. So if you set up your goals, invite God into your goals, invite God into your life, and ask Him for wisdom and discernment. Discernment is to know whether something is good for you or not, whether a person is good for you or not, or a situation, and He will give you this if you ask Him for that. In James 1-5 in the Bible it says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." And I can just testify. Back then, when I was not going in God's will, I would not choose my friendships wisely, and I would have friendships where, in the end, those weren't the real friendships for me, and I would be disappointed. And since I'm walking with God, I can see immediately if it's good for me, if a friendship is good for my life or not. And I see it from the start. Also with relationships or whatever, He gives me this knowledge that I didn't have before, really. I was so bad at choosing my friendships. And now He is giving me this direction. This can only come from him, because I know back then I made a lot of bad decisions. And so this is the first thing. Invite God and ask him for wisdom and ask him for discernment. Second thing is, in order to adapt new habits and to make them stick, you can connect them with other already existing habits. So this is from the book Atomic Habits. If your habit is brushing your teeth, then you can link another habit, like after brushing your teeth, you could do a prayer, for example. Or after your workout, you could read a Bible verse, or before your workouts, or just connect them with already existing habits. This will make it so much easier. Then another thing is to track your progress. This helps you stay there and stay motivated and not just give up on your goals. So I would recommend you journaling about your thoughts, about your wishes. And with fitness, you can track your trainings, because this helps you see whether you've progressed in your workouts or not. And in the workouts, you need to progress, you need to take more weight, and yeah, just become better in order to get your dream body. And yeah, just this just helps you stay accountable. Then another thing that's really important is to celebrate milestones, because we so often are focused on what we have not achieved yet. And we downplay the achievements that we already have, and we think, yeah, but I haven't achieved that. Like, I've seen it with clients when their goal is to get a more toned body, and then they see a before and after picture, and they have much less cellulite, and it looks incredible, and they say, yeah, but I still haven't gotten rid of my belly. Like, celebrate the thing, the achievement that you already have. The belly is gonna come, but the body chooses like the first spot where the fat goes away. But if you're seeing that you have much less cellulite and that your legs are more toned, this is already a progress. Do not focus on what you haven't achieved yet. Stay consistent. This will come, but celebrate the achievements that you have now. And this also goes to your spiritual goals, but also to business goals or whatever goals you might have. And for that, I have a wonderful method that I love. It's my evidence jar. It's up there, so I can't bring it right now. But it is, or I will bring you the evidence jar, because I have to show you this. It is this. I should really update it and fill it with more things, but it is this beautiful jar, and it has those papers with my evidence written down, like evidence for, depending on what you want to achieve, evidence that you are shaping your body, that you're getting your dream body. You can write, for example, somebody complimented me in the gym, evidence. Or I could lift more weight with my hip thrust, evidence. All of those things. In whatever goal you have, you can do this. And when you feel demotivated and like nothing is progressing, you have this jar to remind yourself. And I really have to put more things in that. And what I changed my evidence jar to was to start looking for evidence of God's hand in my life, of God's work in my life, to just remind myself that God is there and God is working even in hard moments. So the evidence jar is just a thing that I really recommend you. And then the next thing is stay flexible. So life may shift. You may have one plan, but then it turns out differently. But throughout that, keep trusting that God's plans are better than yours. Sometimes we do have some goals and we want to go this direction, or we want to stay in that relationship, but God says, no, I have something better for you. And maybe you have lived this situation where you separated from your partner and you were so devastated, and after that you got to know your person, and then you noticed, okay, I know now that this partner was not the partner for me. Same is with life. If God gives you a different direction, it may hurt in the moment, but trust in Him and trust that His direction is better than yours. So stay flexible, set your own goals, but stay flexible if God shows you another way. I have seen this in my life so much. And in Proverbs it says in Proverbs 19:21, the chapter of the Bible that is full of wisdom, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that prevails. So you can have desires in your heart, but it always comes back to the purpose that God has for you. So those are some practical steps to just keep yourself accountable and to stick to your new habits that lead you towards your goals. And some other spiritual practices that I want to give you that you can implement into your everyday life, because it's so important to keep yourself focused, is to start each day with gratitude. I started this in 2023 and I haven't stopped since then. I still do it. I read 10 things, but you can also start with 3. But because where there is thankfulness, there is no place for resentment, for fear, for bad feelings. Gratitude fills your life, and gratitude attracts more blessings and more great things. So start with gratitude. Then I have my favorite mirror exercise that I give my clients, which then I switched to something that just aligns more with my faith, and that is just a game changer. Now I'm doing the mirror exercise. This looks like looking in the mirror, setting up your timer for 5 minutes every day in the morning, even though you don't want to do it, especially when you don't want to do it, you need it the most. And then tell yourself beautiful things about yourself. But what I do now is that I tell myself beautiful things that are grounded in the Bible. For example, in the Psalms, it says, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know that. So this just gives you a lot of self-confidence, because if you think that you're not good enough, not beautiful enough, or whatever, just remember that you are fearfully and wonderfully made by God. And there are so many other verses on that. Or for example, this one, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. If you wake up and you want to go train, but you feel like you're tired and you have no energy, speak this verse over yourself with the mirror exercise, and I will promise you this will give you such an incredible energy that you're thinking, where does this energy come from? It comes from God, from your Creator, because the Bible is a sword. It's a double-edged sword, and it's powerful. It's a powerful truth, and if you speak this over yourself, you will see it manifest in your life. So do the mirror exercise, grounded in scripture, and see how your self-confidence transforms. You can also speak promises of God over yourself. Promises for provision, for well-being, for peace, for whatever you need. Do your research of Bible verses that just give you beautiful promises and speak them over yourself during the mirror exercise, and do this every day. Be consistent and see how your life will change. This recently helped me out of a tough situation, and it helped me out in such a short time, in such a crazy way, that it was just wow. And then end every day by reflecting on where you saw God working in your life on this day. What happened? What beautiful things did you live? And where did you see God's hand? Reflect on it every day, and you will start seeing His hand in your life. And the more you focus on Him, the more He will work in your life, and the more you will see His hand in your life. So I also want to touch on something else when it comes to goals, because I cannot live without touching on that, and that is the eternal perspective on goal setting. And this is what changed for me this year so much. This is like my example of how the plans that I had, God shifted them, and God gave me a whole new direction that I never thought of, and that gives me so much more joy than I could have imagined with my own desires, and so much more peace and so much more freedom. So this is one big thing that has changed for me this year. And what I want to start off is that we live in this world, we live in this bubble, and we think this is everything. So That's why we get so stressed in our everyday life. That's why we have sorrow over little things, about what the neighbor is saying, about the bill we have to pay, or whatever. And we get so caught up. And it's also proven statistically that most of the concerns that we have, they never even like occur. So we are concerned about so many things, and they really end up not happening. And this is just when you're full with concerns, you are a slave to worry, you are a slave to concerns, and concerns literally don't even let you sleep well. And this is just, I don't know, this is a life that I cannot live anymore. I could not imagine living like this anymore, because it's constant stress, and there's no wonder why people have burnouts and depression and anxiety and fears and all of those things. This is because we are in this bubble and we let ourselves be consumed by the concerns of this world. And the eternal perspective is pretty simple. God created us, and we're on this earth for a limited time, for the time that we're living. But it all says in the Bible, He has eternity waiting for us. If we follow His will, if we are His children, if we accept Jesus as our salvation, and we follow Him with all our heart and confess with all our mouths, then we are His children, and He has heaven for us. He has eternity. So our life now is just a tiny bit, and then follows eternity, which is eternal. And He promises us eternal bliss, eternal joy, happiness, peace. Right now, because we sinned against God, we are living in a fallen world. This is why there are so many wars and crimes and depression and all of those things, because this world is fallen. It's full of the human sin. We are all sinners by nature. And if you have felt resentment once, or if you have felt towards somebody, if you have gossiped about somebody, hurt somebody, you are a sinner, and so am I, and so are we all. But we have God's grace, and if we accept Him, we are free from our sin, and we are promised that we are being perfected in Him, and that we will get to live with Him in eternity, where there will be no jealousy, no wars, no nothing. But in this world, we will have this, because God cannot change our will. God gives us free will. And because we people often don't want to live up to His standards and His will, this is why all of these bad things happen. But we have eternity ahead. So when we follow His will, we know that we are working for eternity. So our goals become different. Those will not only be selfish goals that just serve me and that give me the money, that give me the success, but the goals will be set on God's will, and also to love others, to serve others, because we're meant to live in community. And how often are we just so selfish, and we don't take time for others, we don't go out of our way to serve others, and I have been that in the past, just because we want to follow through with our plans. But does this fulfill you? Like most people, before they die, when they're old, they say they regret not spending more time with their loved ones, but chasing after career goals or whatever. There's fathers that literally regret not being there for their kids because they were just following their career goals. So we are made for humanly connections and for being connected with God. This is the first thing. And then for being connected with each other. This is where we thrive. And this is where we just are happy. And there's people that say, I don't like people. I want to stay away from people, and I get it. If you've been disappointed by people, that can be the case. But if you start being loving and being patient, you will attract those kind of people, and you will also be able to change people and also to lead people towards God, so that we can all be in eternity with God together and have an eternal bliss that we cannot even imagine. There's a Bible verse that I don't find right now, but it's like, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has conceived what God has prepared for those who love him. He has such wonderful things prepared for us that our humanly mind cannot even understand it. Often we try to look at life and at God with our human eyes, with our human mind, with a limited mind. But there's the physical realm and there's the spiritual realm. And the spiritual realm is so much bigger. And we can just not grasp it. Just like, for example, there's things that you cannot see. When you're breathing, you can really not see the oxygen, but it's there. It's keeping you alive. You know what I mean? Maybe this was not the best examples, but there's other things. Let me give you another example. Love. You cannot see love. You can see it in acts of love, but you cannot see love. But love is here. And there's a lot of things that are here that you experience, but that you physically don't see. Same is with God. You can physically not understand a lot of things that He has prepared for us, but He has given us an understanding of a lot of things, not of all things yet, but a lot of things in His Word, in the Bible. And this is really what changed for me, my goal, my perspective. Now I'm still on my way there. It's not been perfected, but it has been changed. Instead of focusing on my goals, on my money, on my business, on my career, on my things, I am loving others more. I am able to serve others with joy, and I am able to follow God's will and to have my eyes on eternity. And this just sets me free, because I focus on the eternal rewards that I have in heaven rather than on achievements here. And this helps me to trust God's timing and God's direction for my life, because I know that His direction is to just bring more people to Him and to make this world a better place, but also bring more people into eternity. And having this eternal perspective prevents stress, prevents burnout, and liberates you from the fear of what others may say about you, or from the fear if you can pay your bills tomorrow, or every other fear, even in hard moments. Like, do you know those situations where you are going through a tough situation, then this happens and this happens, and then another thing happens on top, and you feel like you cannot handle this anymore. There's just negative things coming your way. But when you have God and when you have His peace that surpasses all understanding, you will be joyful even in those situations, and this will help you get out of the situation more quickly, and to stay calm and to just know that whatever happens, nothing can separate us from the love of God. The man can kill your body, but they can never kill your spirit. They cannot separate you from God's eternal love. And this is the most beautiful news that we have. Nowadays, I know no matter what happens, nobody can separate me from God's love, and I get to spend eternity with Him. And this just gives me so much more peace. And I've had things because I am doing my vision board every year. Now this year I will be aligning it with Bible verses, with God's will, because I'm not setting my goals like I used to do before. I want to align everything with God's will, and then we'll see what He wants me to have and what He doesn't want me to have yet. But what I wanted to say with that is, where were we? Yeah, this just gives me so much more freedom and another focus, and He still blesses me in that. In my vision board, there were things that He fulfilled, and a lot of things that were because you should set things that you think are unachievable on your vision board, and that's what I did. Things that you don't believe that they're possible, and He fulfilled those things for me. So He wants to fulfill your wishes as well, but not all wishes are for your good. And there were things that came true, and there were things that didn't came true, but majority of those things came true. And was just so beautiful to see how God works in your life, how God gets you to crazy places. Examples of what he did in my life is now I'm able to work on my company full time. I am not employed anymore. This was a dream that I had for a long time. This was a goal that I had, and God led me there. He literally told me to quit my job, and he has sustained me here because it came from him, because I was looking for his direction. Another thing is that I got to go to Colombia and Puerto Rico. Actually, by the time you're seeing this, I'm still there. I'm still in Puerto Rico. I still have a few days left in Puerto Rico. And I got to spend 5.5 weeks out on vacation. And this was for me, was just like, I didn't even know if I could like afford that, but God, like in the past, afforded to go on holidays for so long and to like, not be working for so long. I am still working, but I'm working from another part of the world. And I didn't know that this was possible, but God gave me this. So those are just two of the many things that God gave me. But the biggest things that he gave me were not those earthly things. They were his love and his peace. And he put me through trials this year, or last year, as we're speaking now. He put me through trials, through hard situations where I was really like panicking, but I grew from them. I felt his presence, and I felt his guidance and his love, and this gave me this eternal perspective that sets me free from so many things. And there's a Bible verse in Acts 20-24 that in the past it triggered me, but now I love it. And it's from the Apostle Paul, and he says, "However, I consider my life worth nothing to me. My only aim is to finish the race and complete the task the Lord Jesus has given me, the task of testifying to the good news of God's grace." So he's literally saying he considers his whole life worth nothing to him, or in other Bible translations it says he considers his life is like garbage in comparison to his God-given task to testify about God's grace and Jesus' love and to fulfill this race. And this is why we're all here on earth. This is why I was literally convicted that I'm here on this earth, to finish the race for God, to follow his purpose, to get more souls into heaven. And this is what nowadays I live for. Do I always live for that? No, it's not always perfect. Sometimes my desires come in, but I get more and more of this eternal perspective. And this is just so incredibly liberating. And when you hear it, when you're not there yet, it feels like, why should I follow God's will? Why should I not follow my will? Where's the fun in that? But believe me, when you're on this side, the fulfillment, the fun, the bliss is there. And nothing in this world that you can have, no material thing, nothing, no party, nothing can compare to the joy that I am feeling right now. And that I'm feeling walking in God's will. So to finish it off, I want to emphasize again on the importance on aligning your plans with God's will, because he knows your past, present, and future, and he knows where you're heading, and he has the best for you in mind. And I want to remind you to just start small and to be consistent with the things. Set yourself 3 little goals and stay consistent with them. Don't set yourself 10 steps, then habit changes, but 3, and then go on from there. Start small. And also, again, be open to changes. Be open to God wanting to change your goals, the thing that you thought was great for you. If he wants to show you a different direction, be open for that, because it will bring you so many blessings. And I want to end this session with a prayer. First time I'm praying here. And I just want to be guided bad spirits, and let's go. God, our beloved Father, you know this person that is listening to this podcast episode. You know her heart, you know her past, present, and future. You know her deepest desires. You know what this person went through, how she grew up, how she was brought up. You know everything about her. You have loved her since the beginning of the earth. You have loved her even before she was born. So I pray, God, that you bless her with this episode, that this episode spoke to her, that you will guide her, that you will touch her heart, and that you will guide her throughout this year, that you will guide her every step, that you will show you that you are her loving father and her loving husband, and that you are going with her with every step, that she does not need to fear, to have anxiety, because you are there. Let her feel this peace of you that surpasses all understanding. Guide her in everything. Let her grow in you. Let her come closer to you, and just bless her with your presence and bless her with the things you have for her in life. Fulfill her heart with your love and guide her towards the direction that you want to take her, because I know this is the best direction for her. Bless this person that is listening to this podcast right now. In your mighty name, I pray, Jesus. Amen. And with that, we finish off. I will see you in next episode. Bye bye.